my mindset was dead on that I'm going to rent forever. Be turning 57. Do I want to deal with maintenance and stuff and then where I can rent and they take care of everything for me, so I ain't got to worry about nothing. But
so what changed your mind?
we got somebody new, manager at the apartment complex. I didn't rub right with her.
Mr. Sample, thank you so much for joining me today. Would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
My name is Alfonso Sample. I'm originally from New Jersey, Lakewood, New Jersey. I'm retired military. Moved from Georgia to Burlington, North Carolina, and that's where my residence is now.
So how do you like North Carolina versus where you were before?
I make the best of wherever I go. I have to, you know. And the good thing is, here in North Carolina, it puts me a little closer to my family in New Jersey.
Okay, so where were you renting?
I was renting an apartment complex called Chase Apartments. Loved it. It was great apartments. My apartment was second floor, looked over that little pond that they had, and it was great.
How much rent were you paying in there?
I was paying about $14.65 in that range.
So about $14.65, and you rented for how many years there?
I moved up here in 2022. I've been there ever since until just recently when I just bought the house.
Is this your first purchase?
Yes, it's my very first purchase.
Once you decided, okay, I'm actually going to do this, I'm going to buy a house, how did you start? What was the first part of your process?
So at first, when I first moved down here, I was thinking about buying a house. And then I just dropped the notion of it. I went over to the agency. It just so happened the same agency that I went to, I decided to go back over there. The second time around, I just said, bump it, let me go ahead and start. The agent, Jonathan, he started off with giving me a listing of my criteria, what I wanted at the time. When I wanted to go look at some of these places, I called him up, or text him and say, hey, I want to go take a look at this place. He said, all right, you let me know what time, and we go do it. And boom, he was available. So now I'm going through that process, so it's making me more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because he's really doing his work. I'm talking about, I'm going out to Winston, Burlington, Mebane, Graham, you know, all these different Hall River, and he's showing me these places. He even went all the way down to Liberty City, but he was right there for me. So he made me feel comfortable about going through this process.
So that's a testament to a really, really good agent to
Yes.
make sure that you feel comfortable. Now, at what point did you start speaking to a lender?
When I was in the military, I got how much we can qualify for, and when I first did it, I was like a E5 or E6, but you know, and back then, you know, I qualified for like 150,000, and you know, and I held that, you know, so every so often I made sure the certificate kept getting, you know, I'm good. So if I was to decide to go, I at least know how much my range that I can work with.
Was that your certificate of eligibility?
Yes.
That you kept up with?
Yeah, I kept up with. So then, you know, I let it ride for a little while, and then now when I decided to go to the agency, I went there and reached out for someone to see what I can look for. So I went through Veterans United.
Okay.
And oh my God, they was amazing through this whole process, even with the little setback that I had to go through in the process. Me and Jonathan, we're going back to my agent, Jonathan, we're going around and looking, and this one particular house that I kept dinging on.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big house, you know, because I'm a single man, and I'm in a big old house. I was first looking for houses without steps. I'm a disabled veteran, you know, with 100% disability, but you know, because of my knees, this one house just kept. Every time I went by it, I just said I had to take a look. I want to take a look at it.
Now, we were the listing agents on that property. That was a VA property. One thing I noted about that property when we listed it is it's in a really nice, quiet neighborhood. It's a beautiful home, a beautiful backyard with a nice screened-in porch. So what was your very favorite thing about that house? I want to thank Westchester Realty for sponsoring this episode. For 22 years, Westchester Realty has helped renters become homeowners. So if you're interested in learning more about the homeownership process, the contact information is in the link below. Initially, you said you were looking for a one-story house, right? So what made you say, this is the one?
That kitchen.
The kitchen.
That kitchen. I mean, I went in there, it's like, 'cause I like to cook.
Okay.
So, and I was like, wow, this gonna give me room. I got space to put my appliances and stuff like that. But that kitchen was, it was spot on. And the bathrooms was, I mean, God rest his soul, he really took care of that house.
Yes.
You know, and then when I learned the history about the person it was, yeah, you know, it just made me feel more, because when I found out he was retired Navy too, and single man and retired Navy, and it just made me, you know, I want to live up the legacy that he started with that house.
Wonderful. So how much did you pre-qualify for? What was
$300,000.
300? And how much did you pay for the house?
I wanted the house, so I put $290.
290. And what was your interest rate on that house?
It was 6.
6%. And what's your monthly payment?
The monthly with the insurance and
Well, you mean your homeowner's insurance and your taxes?
That's the
Yes,
word.
right.
That's the word.
Homeownership and
And
taxes.
well, $2,223.
How did you feel about having to pay more? Because, you know, lately they've been saying, well, you know, it used to be cheaper to buy than to rent. In your case, you were paying $1,400 and now you're going up to $2,200. How did you feel about that?
Well, I mean, you know, I was going to move from my apartment where I was, and I was willing to go up to about $2,100 a month wherever I go, because everything that went skyrocket and stuff like that over time. You know, I got fortunate enough, my disability got approved for 100%. Mm-hmm. So that helped the process too. And once I got that 100%, it just made it more reasonable to have a home vice staying in an apartment.
Yeah, because if you were going to go up to $2,100 and now you're at $2,200, yeah, because it's hard to find a really nice apartment for what you were initially paying, that $1,400 range. When you started the process, did you have to work on your credit, or were you good in that aspect? Did you have to save any money? What was your preparation process like?
I was lucky enough in New Jersey, when we finally sold our mother's home, so I had a little something set aside. I don't know the traditional way of how the regular home is, but the zero down process, it's true. I didn't have to put no money down. The only thing I had to bring to the table is the closing costs.
Yes.
And it was less than $10,000. So that helped me out a lot, because that was my biggest worry, that I'm gonna have to bring a whole bunch of money to the put down payment, and then it's like, I'm gonna be broke.
Yeah, and the reality is, when you are doing a VA loan, that you do get zero down. And a lot of people can also get down payment assistance to help with the closing costs. So there are so many ways that you can structure the deal. You can ask the seller to pay the closing cost or a portion of the closing cost. So for those people who really think that, you know, you have to have a lot of money to come to the table, that's just not true.
You're right about that one.
Right?
And it's different than dealing with the government, because, you know, they don't sway as much as a regular seller would, but it wasn't bad. You know, you put the money to the side and be like, well, Lord, I don't want to spend it, but I don't want to spend it. But, you know, it get tempted and stuff like that. I stuck to my guns on it, and I had enough. And then right after I closed, I mean, they sent me some money back because I overpaid.
Well, I want to circle back, because you mentioned that when you were working on the loan process, you had a setback. What was that?
So the house that I chose, it was a VA foreclosure home. Mm-hmm. The government owns the deed to that house. So when they shut down, one department handled that, and I'm going to assume, I don't know the full detail, but I'm going to assume that You know, the job loss for all the government employees, it just fell to the wayside, and it was just sitting there in limbo.
Our analytics suggest that 80% of you who are watching aren't subscribed to our channel. So I'm asking, please subscribe and support the channel. Make sure that you like, that you share, and that you click the notification button so that you don't miss an episode. We really, truly appreciate your support. A lot of people in the government were fired, and we did have a little bit of a time trying to get that deed done. And typically, getting a deed from VA or HUD is not a difficult process, and usually it moves much quicker. In your case, it did take a little bit of time, maybe about an additional, 2 weeks or something like that. So it wasn't horrible. So with any home, whether it be a VA home, a HUD home, a regular sale, you should always have a good property inspector.
I actually had 2 inspections. I had an independent inspector. The VA came through and they inspected the property. The VA, they just want the VA veteran to move,
Safe house.
that move into a safe house.
Yes.
In a house. So when we was looking at houses, if he seen something, he said, well, you know, they may not do that because, you know, they real strict about their process on giving us a home, because they don't want us to go into a home that's tore up, that I'm going to be putting more money into.
So did they turn up anything that they felt like needed to be repaired, or something that you would have to take on at some point?
Fortunate with this place, the major things passed.
Yeah, you're right, because it did have a good roof. It was a newer HVAC system, a newer water heater. Like you said, he really did take a lot of care in this property.
This house was a diamond in the rough.
It was.
It just kept drawing me to it, and I was happy to be the one to take over it, to be the next person.
So your loan process, was it difficult? Was it time consuming? Did you feel like it was a smooth process for you?
I'm going to say smooth, because I had my idea in May, and I closed in the last day of June.
So do you have any regrets about your decision to purchase?
No, absolutely not. But, you know, like I said, my initial was I was going to be a runner for life, but I'm glad I didn't stick to that.
I'm glad you didn't either, because
I'm
it's
glad
a
I
really
didn't stick
great
to
house.
it. Oh, it's an amazing house.
So how has homeownership changed your life?
Well, I got a whole bunch of stuff that I can spread out now. I really feel comfortable. Like when my mom home, it feel comfortable. And like for this Thanksgiving, I'm inviting my family down to come and do Thanksgiving at my house if they can make it.
Yeah.
And you know, the first thing when I moved into my house, the first thing that went into my house was a picture of me and my mom together. I had to put her on the mantle first, you know, and let her know that this is her home now. You home now.
Put down roots.
Yes.
Yeah, you've established roots. So for anybody who's thinking about buying a house, but they're not sure they can do it, or they don't know, understand the process or understand how important homeownership is, what advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid. And that's what's the biggest thing, that I was afraid at first. But pray that you match with the right agent to help you to go through this process, because he took the fear from me about this whole process, and he, encouraging words. He said, "Don't get discouraged. I got this. We're gonna get through this process." And he made me feel real good about going through this.
So what was your biggest fear, though?
I'm in the house and something go wrong, and now it's my responsibility. So that was my fear about, I have to take care of this. I can't fall back on somebody else to take care of this. This is my responsibility. And that was my biggest fear, that I wouldn't be financially stable to do it. But it's not that hard if you put the time in and you set aside for it. Because I wasn't a big fan about saving, but now, I understand.
Well, you know what? I try to put this in perspective for people who have the same fear that you did, and that's something this simple. So you own a car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So were you afraid that you were going to have to buy a part, or you're going to need to buy some tires, or something's go wrong with this car and now I'm going to have to repair this car? No, people don't have that fear. And the thing about it is, with a car, as the minute you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. You're losing value. Whereas, even though you might have to make a few repairs in your property, and you got to maintain it, of course, because you got to maintain anything, relationships, your car, whatever, right? It's appreciating. It's gaining value over time. It's building generational wealth for you. So for those people who are afraid, I'm so glad that your advice is don't be afraid. That's great advice.
Thank you.
Well, is there anything else you want to say, that you want to add, that maybe I didn't ask?
Well, I mean, like I said, I appreciate that y'all kept it on market for me to get. I appreciate that no one had came through and jumped on it before I got an opportunity.
But you know what it is? What's for you is for you.
Yes.
In our first home that my husband and I bought together, our home sat on the market for 1 year before we came along. 1 whole year. When we moved here to North Carolina, it was a brand new build. It sat on the market for 1 year before we saw it. So what's for you is for you. And
Yes.
It was clearly your home because it sat on the market. It was on the market a long, long time, but you said, I'm so shocked nobody snapped it up. But
Yes.
somebody did snap it up. You.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that you bought back your life. It was
Yes.
a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on the Buy Back Your Life podcast. For more ways to realize your dream of homeownership, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.